3 hours later, I decide to give up and cave in and Google up what the hell went wrong. Because at this point, I have no idea why this guy's leaving me, even though this is the area I was supposed to be in. Spoiler alert. Unfortunately, that was not in the previous video. We got ourselves off tutorial and we were tasked to get ourselves close to Hyrule Castle. By the time we get to Hyrule Castle, we have to meet this character called Purr, which is nice. However though, 3 hours later, I'm gonna find myself in a situation where I sort of soft lock myself out of the game by accident. So we meet up with Purr here, and she's a character from the previous game, Breath of the Wild, and she apparently DH'd herself. We're tasked with meeting up with Hawes near Hyrule Castle because apparently there was a sighting of Zelda. Obviously, we're gonna see Zelda, but she's far off into the distance, and she is going to fly herself away, which is okay. Obviously now, since we saw Zelda, we have to go back to the town and report back to her, but as we get to that point, as I was just making a car to get myself back to town, this event triggers and I don't know what the heck is happening. This scared me and freaked me out for the first time. I thought I triggered some sort of apocalyptic world-ending disaster. I thought I triggered something that I wasn't supposed to, because the screen turned red and just a cutscene started to go and I did not know why the heck this was happening. Later on, I find out from chat that apparently this is just a game mechanic where every so often the game resets all the mobs that you have killed in the world, and this is just the game's ways lore of just letting you know that that's just what's happening. So it's just essentially acts as a mob reset mechanic, but with a little tidbit of lore. Now, what ends up happening is finally gain access to the Skyview Tower. Skyview Tower acts as a fast travel point as well as a way to be able to get more data for your map, which is very nice. I decided that as I do this playthrough, I was gonna reach as many of these Skyview Towers as fast as I can to be able to just A, get new fast travel points, and B, increase the information that we have of the map, which to me made a lot of sense. However though, what ends up happening is that now with the Skyview Tower unlocked, we have to go into our next quest. Apparently there's 4 phenomena that have triggered because of the Hyrule Castle being lifted into the sky. There are 4 points of interest here. There's one in the northeast, west, southwest, and northeast. Before that though, I decided that I was going to get a horse first, and we named the horse Roach for Roach's sake, and also my girlfriend plays Witcher 3 and she really likes that. We make our way over to Rito Village, which is on the northwest side of the map over here, and in this area we find that it's completely covered to snow, and we finally meet, well, the next part of our cast, Tulin, a young Rito warrior. I have no clue who this guy is, but in this village, these are our companions and they want to help us out and for looking for Zelda, but apparently this blizzard came out of nowhere and is messing with the locals, so they can't spare any more people. So obviously, we gotta help them. Now, Tulin apparently is just a rascal. Not really a rascal. He's very overconfident because he's a protege. He's got a specific skill that nobody else can do. Apparently he can control the wind, and by control the wind it just means he can blow wind your way and let you glide, which is actually very, very useful. Obviously the boy's going like all gung-ho and he can do everything himself, and we gotta find him. Now this is where I kind of sort of soft lock myself. What ends up happening is they talk about how there's this gigantic tornado in the sky and that there's no way for you to get in it from the side or from the bottom, but you have to go above it. And it talks about how you need to go above it in order to enter that tornado, which is probably the source of the blizzard. Now, it's already the next day, and I'm doing some exploring, thinking, yeah, you know, not a big deal. I should explore, get some shrines, you know, just gather the intel. Now, what ends up happening is because it's the next day, I remember back to the quest telling me, oh, number 1, I need to get in that tornado, but I can't go at it from the bottom or the side. So I decide to figure out how I can get myself into that tornado from above. I decided that I was going to go to this tower right here, the Skyview Tower, because this Skyview Tower, as it so presents, is that the Skyview Tower is right beneath the tornado. So as you can see on the map right there, we are literally by the side of Heber Mountain, but when you go over to the Sky World, you'll see that we're really damn close to the tornado. As a result, I decided I was going to go to the next Sky Tower that's closest to it, and we make ourselves all the way over to that tower. And now this time, we are directly, essentially, below the tornado. And because of that, I was thinking, oh, how I get up through the tornado is I propel myself into the sky with the Skyview Tower, and that's gonna shoot me high above the tornado, and then I can glide myself back down into the tornado. At least that was the plan, or the plan that I had. Spoiler alert, unfortunately, that was not the case. I'm not above the tornado. Now this is where I go into problem solving mode. I decide to try many different ways to fly myself above. I try making a flying contraption. I get myself to an area where there's this pseudo catapult that shoots me out, and I was thinking, oh, I should probably put my glider in there. Eventually, I decided that I was just gonna fly this the good old manual way and get myself all the way towards the tornado. That did not work. I make my next contraption thinking, oh, I did not have enough distance to be able to travel with the glider, and I get as close as I can all the way to the tornado, and then I make myself over to the shrine here. But what happens when I get to the shrine is Tulin leaves me. Fast forward, I decide to try to go through a different realm and just get to this area. At this point, I've been pretty steadfast on not Googling or YouTubing anything, like at all. Tulin just keeps leaving me, and here's the thing. 3 hours later, I decide to give up and cave in and Google up what the hell went wrong. Because at this point, I have no idea why this guy's leaving me, even though this is the area I'm supposed to be in. Lo and behold, I find out I'm missing a cutscene. When I trailed away from my last stream, I was actually supposed to continue to progress to the next area from where I talked to the birds. What ended up happening was because I started wandering away, I just veered off track completely. Eventually, I was able to get myself back on track and climb my way all the way up to the sky. Apparently, the only way to get to this little tornado area is you have to literally manually climb your way up in the sky through all the buildings that you were supposed to do from that area. Eventually, I was able to make myself all the way to my first temple, Wind Temple, the legendary Star Mark. And follow for part 3.